Hi, here's a project if you want to find the zip code of a city or town in Illinois. And how it works is you click on here. This says Cary. This is the zip code right here. Let's put another one in here. Let's put Zion, Illinois. And there's the zip code right here. Let's put in Quincy, Illinois. It has more than one zip code. And we can see that there are 3 zip codes for the Quincy area. Suppose we want to find where Quincy is on there and see if we recognize the zip code. So let's just put our cursor in here, Control F. Control F. And Quincy's already listed here. We'd have to type it in otherwise. We'll click Find Next. And there it is, Quincy, Quincy, Quincy. And so the 3 zip codes are 62301, we have 05 and 06. If you don't know what the zip code is for Quincy, you can click on this hyperlink right here and it will take you to the United States Postal Service zip code finder. You put in the address and it will give it to you. So a hyperlink is pretty easy to put in. You simply go to the Insert tab and click on Link, and then you create your hyperlink. So for example, let's look at this hyperlink right here. We're going to open it up. We're going to edit it. Here is the web address, HTTPS, so on, and that will tell you this line right here is the text, which is USPS zip code finder, which is what it says right there. And this has to be checked, existing file or web page and current folder. But this project is mainly about functions, so we're going to go over all the functions that you would need for this. Right here is VLOOKUP. So you have D1, which is this value right here. So that's your criteria. This is the range, D3 to E1590. That's the table range where the initial value, such as Quincy or the city, is in this row. Number 2 means we count, this is 1 and this is 2, and 2 is the area where we're going to look up the data. And the last argument is false. That means it's only going to give us one answer. If there's more than one answer, we need to know that, but in this VLOOKUP, there's only one answer. And that's the reason we have over here the COUNTIF, so that we know if there's more than one zip code for that town. And if we're cautioned by the fact that there is more than one, we have to do a little more research to figure out what the zip code is. Right here is a nested if. So that if F1, which is this value right here, equals 0, then it says city is misspelled. So for example, if I were to put Quincy, and I'm going to put S on the end, it's misspelled. It says city misspelled. 0, because it can't find that in this list. So I'm going to backspace over that, put Quincy in there again. And let's take a closer look at this formula. If the value in F1 equals 0, the words city misspelled appears. That would be true. The next argument is false, but we have it nested if, so it's going to be another if argument. So instead of false, it's going to be if F1 equals 1, then the word zip code appears. If 1 equals 2, then the words this city has 2 zip codes appears. That's true. And then the false, we don't nest anymore, so the false would be multiple zip codes for this city. Okay, back in the workbook, you can see how the if If it equals 0, the word city misspelled appears, and so on. Okay, I'm going to go over each aspect of this. Let's put in the city Cary. And we know there's only one zip code there. So let's look at this again. The value here is the first argument. The second argument in VLOOKUP is D3 to E 1590. The third argument, which is the number 2, says that in this table, the value that we're looking for is in the second column. So this would be column 1, and this would be column 2. And lastly, we want the word false in there. COUNTIF shows the range D4 to D1590. And the criteria is the value in D1. So the number of times that the value in D1 appears in this range, it will be recorded. In this case, the word Cary, or the town Cary, is only in there once. And of course we have the nested ifs for the commentary about the number of times in F1. Our project is to turn this data into useful information that we can look up using VLOOKUP. First of all, the information that you find first is in this row, and in VLOOKUP it's a value to the right of it, but the value, which is the zip code, is to the left. So we would have to put equals and then the value over here in order to put the value that we want to the right of the value that we already have. It has to be to the right of it. And we could take this and just autofill down, but since there's 1590 rows, there's a faster way. We're going to convert this to a table. So how we do that is we'll select anywhere in there and go to the Insert tab and choose Table. My table has headers. It does. We've got that checked. Here's the range, B3 to C 1590. It calculated that for me. I'll click OK, and it's in there. I might choose a different design, however I want. And now I'll go to the right of it and put in equals and the value here, B4, for the copy formula, and enter. And it's filled out all the way down. Now I can use my VLOOKUP. So I'll go right over here and FX and put in VLOOKUP. And click OK. The lookup value is going to be right here in C1. The table array is going to be C4 through D 1590. And the column index number, since this will be column 1 related to our range here, this will be column 2 because that's the lookup value. So we'll put down number 2 because that's where we want to look it up, and we want to type false in here. We can make that capital C there. D there. That's how it should read. And you can see that it just popped right in there. Let's put in, see if this works for another one. Let's put in Deerfield. Okay. Now we need the COUNTIF. Let's go to FX, COUNTIF. The range is going to be, I'll just put in C4 to C7 and then change that last number right here. And the criteria is going to be the value in C1. So whatever value is in C1 is going to count how many times that is in the C column. And there's one for Deerfield. Let's just change that to Springfield, the capital. The capital of Illinois has 38 zip codes. And last but not least, we need nested ifs. Let's start with just a regular if. If the value in this cell equals 0, if that is true, we will say city misspelled. And we'll leave false blank. Since it's 38, we know that that's not, it's going to read false. If we were to misspell it by putting a couple Z's on the end, it says city misspelled. For the third argument is false, we will turn that into a nested if. So I'll put a comma there and put if so if we add instead of false, we said if E1 equals 1, then the word zip code appears. So if it's 0, it says city misspelled. If E1 equals 1, then the word zip code appears. Let's just test that out. We've got Alden here, which is 1. It says zip code. I'm going to misspell it. City misspelled. So we're going to just add one other in here. In this case, we're just going to say it's going to be false. If E1 equals 1, true, the value of true is zip code, and the value of false is going to be, and we'll put a comma there for the last argument, and then double quotes, multiple. Multiple zip codes. So now there's 3 options: city misspelled, zip code, or multiple zip codes. Let's put in Quincy. Multiple zip codes. And there you have it. So we have equals here. And since this is a table, the formula is a little bit different. You could just put in equals and then the value here, but since it's a table, it'll say at this value, zip Illinois, because that's the header, and it just wants to equal that.